Hi guys, welcome back to the Shannon Show podcast. So today's episode is going to be a review of Love Island 2019, episode 44. So the beginning of the episode kind of continues on the whole Harley and Chris situation. At first, Harley's saying it's over, that she's been mugged off and she's done with him. Chris, at first, I think he says that he thinks that she's overreacting. I'm not sure if I got that right or not, but let me know. But I believe he said that he kind of thought that he understands why she's upset, but he kind of thinks that she's overreacting. And then suddenly he changes his tune and he now realizes why she's so upset, and he makes her like breakfast and he like carves out sorry. And at first she's like saying like, oh, I'm not going to forgive him that easily. But then they have like a little talk and they basically kiss and make up. And he's saying like, you know, she's so special and she brings out all of these things in him that he didn't know. And, you know, he wants them to be together. I'm still not buying it. I still don't think that they're each other's type. I definitely think it's purely coincidence. Like I'm not sure if there's any new people even coming in at this point anymore, whether it's just going to be straight eliminations from now. So they're probably thinking like, who else are we going to couple up with? We might as well just get back together. They're probably thinking for both of their game plans, it would be better for them to just get back together. In last episode, we didn't really see Molly's reaction. We see it in this episode. She's kind of like annoyed and kind of rattled, and she's probably thinking, oh, the public think I'm this massive game player. I've seen a lot of videos circulating saying that Molly is the biggest game player in the house. I think that they were all playing a game. Honestly, I feel like this whole Molly is a big game player storyline has been played out and stretched out. Like, I don't think Tommy even cares. Even if he does suspect that she's playing a game, I don't think Tommy actually cares because he's still getting, you know, 25k. Like, even if Molly is this big game player and she's just playing the game, I feel like she'd at least have the decency to split the money with Tommy. So as long as Tommy has 25k, I really don't think he's that bothered, and I really don't think that he's the victim in this situation. Yesterday, Ovi was saying all of that spiel like, oh my gosh, I'm an athlete and, you know, I've had problems with all these women that have just wanted me for my money. And he expresses that to India, and India's saying, you know, oh, you know, I'm not in here for money. Like, I didn't come in here expecting to win 50k. And I kind of believe her because, you know, coming this late into the game, I feel like she just came in here for exposure, really. And, you know, she said, you know, there's easier ways to get 50k. And I'm very sure that India has earned 50k in one night. So I don't think she's tripping off 50k, really. You know what I'm saying? That's also not to say that she didn't go in there thinking Ovi was popular. She obviously knew Ovi was popular, but, you know, it was either Ovi or Chris. And you as a person, who would you have picked, Chris or Ovi? I would have picked Ovi. At the end of the day, I'm pretty sure, again, she would split the 50k. Like, so I don't know what the big deal is. Moving on. Obviously, other than that, there wasn't really much going on except for the main event, which was Jordan and Anna. So in kind of like midway through the episode, we see the seed has already been planted. Anna says she's like suspicious of Jordan, how he's been really distant. He's always talking to India, and she feels like something is off. Jordan, as we know, has a talk with Curtis, king of the half boyfriends, and tells him, you know, I have feelings for India. I don't know if things are going as well as I'd like them to with Anna, yada, yada, yada. I think I could have something better with India. And Curtis, you know, I didn't expect anything less from Curtis. Like, he's the king of the trashy half boyfriends. And he's like, you know, there's no harm in exploring, and if you're going to explore, it's better to explore now. And I'm thinking, how is it better to explore now? Literally 24 hours, you know, 2 days after he's told Anna to ask Anna to be his girlfriend. Like, this isn't like they're in the talking stage, they're in the exclusive case. They're not half boyfriend, half girlfriend. They are actually like fully boyfriend and girlfriend. and but 2 days after they've become boyfriend and girlfriend is the right time to explore another relationship. Trash. At first I was thinking, like, why the hell is Jordan talking to Curtis of all people about trashy behaviour? But then I remembered, like, you know, the heads of the trash society, Danny and Michael, are both gone. So now, Curtis by default is interim president of the trash society. So of course he's asking him for advice. Then Jordan starts gassing himself up. He's saying, you know, he's only come here for himself, and like he's not going to deny himself like anything for anyone else because he came in here to experience this for himself. And that's all good and cool. And then, you know, the whole grand scheme of things, like, you know, we're all here, we're all living for ourselves and not anyone else. But you just asked somebody to be your girlfriend 2 days ago. Not half girlfriend, but full girlfriend 2 days ago. So now you want to be trash after asking someone to be your girlfriend? Like, I just don't understand it. It's just like, of all the times to decide to be a trash human being, you want to decide to be trash now. It just shows how trash he really is. So there was a bit before the main confrontation, the juicy confrontation, when Anna basically confronts him. She says, you know, you haven't been as an affectionate, you know, you've been distant, you've been talking to India a lot, you know, what's kind of going on. Jordan becomes incredibly defensive and he starts telling, you know, Anna, why are you shouting at me? Why are you shouting at me? Stuff like that. And Anna, although her tone was like quite aggressive, she wasn't actually shouting. So when he was saying, don't shout at me, don't shout at me, I'm thinking these are the Michael Trash Society / Danny tactics, where he's now trying to trigger Anna into a bigger reaction. So he's being really defensive and he's saying, you know, oh, I should be allowed to have space. I should be allowed to have space, when she's saying like, oh, like I've been upset and you've been distant. And he's saying I should be allowed to have space, all of this rubbish. And I'm just thinking, you know, Anna made a fair point, you know, it's not always going to be fun all the time in relationships. You know, sometimes someone is going to be down in the relationship and you just have to work through it. You know, you can't just be distant. And that was a fair point. And I feel like that's a fair point to say to your boyfriend, of all people, like, you know. But he was just being very defensive. He called her embarrassing. And that behaviour, again, we've seen it come up again. And I always didn't understand why he would just switch from that, because he'd be really nice. And then when they'd like be having an argument or something, he'd be like, oh, you're pathetic, you're this, you're that. And I always thought that was quite strange behaviour. But now it's becoming apparent because he's actually trash. And now it makes so much sense as to why he was such a good friends with Michael and Danny. And I feel like in that situation, he was being ultra defensive and antagonistic, wanting to get a reaction out of Anna so that he could now justify in his head, well, she's just had an argument with me. She's been so unreasonable. She's been so negative towards me. Well, that means now I can be upset with her. And now that I'm upset, I can do what I want. Hence, I can now move forward in trying to attempt something with India. See the behaviour? Amber gives Ovi a heads up about like Jordan now trying to like approach India. Ovi says he's not bothered, but then he tells India, so it's very clear that he is bothered. Obviously, he said it before, he's a proud man, so he probably didn't want to admit that he was sweating a bit because Jordan has stolen his woman before, so who's to say he wouldn't steal it again? Obviously, we already see the result, but who was to say at that moment that Jordan wouldn't have stole his woman again? Jordan takes India for a chat and tells her how she feels, and she kind of friend zones him, which is classic. I feel like India would be smart enough not to go with Jordan. One, because Ovi is obviously more popular, and two, because she knows that there'd be so much backlash because Anna already did Ovi dirty. So if she was to do him dirty as well, she knows she would be finished. Curtis, because he's Mr. Chatty Patty, not even any of the other boys told their girls really what was going down. He was the first one to snitch. he tells Maura about the whole situation. He tells Maura what Jordan told him. And obviously Maura is pissed straight away. She's not happy. She's good friends with Anna, so she's already like, this fucking dickhead, like how fucking dare he, after he made her his girlfriend. Curtis is trying to like explain the situation, I guess trying to rationalize it, but Anna's angry, and then she's like, oh no, I have to tell Anna, like, and Curtis is trying to be like, oh no, let me talk to you about the situation. And he's like, no, she's like, no, I have to tell Anna, like, she's my friend, like, I can't keep this information from her. Oh my gosh, Curtis, he actually sounds like such a dad. I'm pissed off with you now. And then Maura was like, be pissed off then. I was just like, I actually love Maura. But anyway, obviously, if that's my friend, sorry, I'm not keeping my mouth shut either. As soon as you said I wouldn't have, Maura was even good for staying there for 10 seconds after he spilled the beans. As soon as I heard Jordan's trying to talk to India, that would have been me up and running over to Anna. So Maura tells Anna, and obviously at this point, Jordan's already pulled India for a chat. So Maura spills the beans to Anna, and Anna is just fuming, absolutely fuming. So Anna confronts him, she calls him a dickhead. She says he's a game player, that he was only with her to be in the final. She reads him for filth. He's like, oh, this is why you've only been with one person and you've slept with 100 girls. She throws that in his face. And honestly, she deserves, even really, really and truly, Jordan got off light, because this is disrespect. Like, this isn't no talking stage, no exclusive dating. This is her boyfriend. And he's disrespected her already. Not even 48 hours. He's already just disrespecting her like that. So he got off light. He's like, oh, you're the most negative person I've ever met. And I was just like, what the fuck? Is that your fucking comeback? And then obviously he's like, oh, you don't even know what we're talking about. We're just having a conversation. And then Anna is like, well, what the fuck are you talking about then? Like, what the fuck were you talking about? And he's not saying anything. And then Anna's like, oh, you were going to tell her that she liked her, like Maura told me. And he was like, no, I didn't. No, I haven't. No, I didn't. And I'm just thinking, this Jordan can actually lie. And you see his face all stush up, like the conviction in his lying face, like he wasn't just going to get caught out. And I was just like, the way that this boy is lying, absolute trash. And before he was like saying, I've led girls on before, like before in the episode, like it was nothing. And we're seeing it. The audacity to lie, especially when the lie is just going to crumble. By first 10 minutes next episode, the lie's already going to crumble, because India has no loyalty to Jordan. Obviously, India kind of got scooped out of that situation. It was probably the smart thing to do to not get involved until Anna came to speak to her separately to confirm what went on. And obviously she's going to spill the beans. So it's just like, why even lie in the first place? Because you're just going to look like even more of a dickhead now. See, I just found it very funny. It was almost like a child who had said that they didn't do something, and the evidence is literally written all over their face. It's like when a child says that they didn't write on the wall, but then they've got pen marks on their hands. This is literally what the situation looked like. Honestly, I don't think Anna is going to go back to Jordan. They're so disrespectful. I feel like Anna has a lot more respect for herself, that she actually wouldn't go back to Jordan. I think she definitely regrets picking him over Ovi now. But what are we thinking now? Because do you think that Anna would take Jordan back, even though because nothing is going to happen between him and India? But I feel like Anna will respect herself enough not to go back to him, and the fact that there's only a week left too, I feel like she doesn't even care at this point. She's been in the bottom three 3 times already, so she's probably thinking fuck it, I don't actually need this guy. Also, when she was saying you used me because you wanted to get into the final because you wanted the 50k, yada yada, does that mean that she thinks that they've been in the bottom because of Jordan now? What do you think? Do you feel like this is the end of Anna and Jordan, or do you feel like they will patch things up? And also, do you feel like Anna was being a bit too aggressive? Did she take it too far? I definitely think that Jordan got off lightly. If that was me, it depends actually, because I would have been angry. I would have just ignored him, really. That's how I deal with situations. But it depends when when you've got heightened emotions up there, like you probably just, the fuse just switches. And even though most of the time I would have just ignored the situation, there has been times where, I'm not going to lie, the fuse has just switched and I've just switched. So if I was in that mood where I've just switched, I definitely would have gone in way more than Anna did. And then obviously there's a vote. I guess somebody's leaving tomorrow. There's a couple leaving tomorrow. I don't know if it's one or two. Who's going to be, how many couples are going to be in the bottom? I'm guessing it's just 2 couples. Obviously, the bottom couple, I'm probably thinking, I don't think it's going to be Jordan and Anna. I actually voted for Jordan and Anna because I want them to stay in now because of the drama. Like, obviously, it's been so boring. Like, the whole Chris and Harley drama, like, we're not really invested in them. They haven't really been that long. They're in there that long for me personally, to be invested in their drama. But Anna and Jordan, I'm invested in that. So I definitely want them to stay so that perhaps we can see more of that, because that's the kind of drama that I need. That was probably, and it seemed very authentic, the drama, rather than it being like producer kind of forced. Rather than it being quite forced. So I want them to stay because of that, because I definitely feel like Anna is not going to let that go. So Harley and Chris, I think they're definitely going to be in the bottom 2. Even though Chris seems to have some support, it's not strong enough for people to waste their votes on them as a couple. Alongside them, if it doesn't really matter, I would say perhaps maybe Jordan and Anna, but I feel like because of the whole drama, people will actually vote for them. So I would say next to them, the weakest couple after that would be, there's so many little couples now. Maybe Belle and Anton. Or maybe Greg and Amber. Ooh. Because Molly and Tommy have a lot of support. But then Anton has quite a lot of support too. I think it might be, if it isn't Anna and Jordan and Harley and Chris, I think it might be Greg and Amber. I think it might be Greg and Amber maybe in the bottom. Who do you think will be vulnerable? It's mixed responses for Anna on Twitter tonight. Half of Twitter is saying, she was right to call him out, to drag him, and they're loving her energy. And the other half is saying, what goes around comes around. And I don't agree with the latter. I feel like a lot of people are saying, what comes around goes around. There are people that don't really like Anna. Because at the end of the day, she didn't do anything wrong to Jordan, per se. They were literally in the early stages of their relationship. Jordan is doing this to his girlfriend. So I don't really feel like Anna did anything wrong when she was with Ovi in Catherine Moore. And Twitter is largely negative towards Jordan. A lot of people are calling him mad. A lot of people are calling him a liar. He's got like this nickname like Shrek or whatever because of his teeth, I'm guessing. And I've seen a tweet saying like people need to stop calling him Shrek because ogres are loyal to their Fionas. And there's been a lot of like tweets, obviously, when India friend-zoned him. He was like, oh, I just see you as a mate. And he was like, mate? And then he was like, oh, for fuck's sake, I fucking fuck this shit up. Everyone's gonna know by tomorrow. It wasn't even fucking worth it. But that's what you fucking get, cheeky bastard. Friends with Michael.